CTV Calgary, local breaking news.
Good afternoon. People gathered at ceremonies across the city and the province this morning to remember those who fought for our freedom. Today's Remembrance Day ceremonies mark 80 years since the end of the Second World War. The ceremony at the Hangar Flight Museum focused on the sacrifices made by Albertans. Thousands from our province answered the call to serve. Currie Barracks was a key combat training facility, and we became a cornerstone of the British Commonwealth Air Training Plan, with airfields and schools established across the province.
One of Alberta's most distinguished airmen was Sergeant Fred Sutherland of Peace River, who flew with the Legendary No. 67 Squadron in the famous Dam Busters raid in 1943. His courage and skill remain a proud chapter of our province's military heritage.
Veterans Affairs estimates there are more than 3,600 surviving Canadian veterans from the Second World War. A pedestrian was hit by an SUV in the Northwest last night. It happened around 6:30 at 16th Avenue and 2nd Street. Paramedics say an adult was taken to hospital in life-threatening condition. The driver remained on the scene, and police continue to investigate. A grass fire last night was visible from Deerfoot Trail. Our viewer sent us this video, which was captured just after 10. The fire was burning near the 16th Avenue off-ramp onto southbound Deerfoot Trail. Fire crews were able to put the flames out quickly. No word yet about what sparked that fire. Ottawa's Budget Roadshow rolled into Calgary on Monday as talks to end Alberta's long-running energy disputes with Ottawa appear close to a deal. Kevin Green has those details.
The federal finance minister brought his sales pitch for Ottawa's new budget to Calgary, highlighting what the feds call a plan for a stronger, cleaner economy.
The fact that the prime minister changed the tone to talk about an energy superpower in both clean and conventional energy, I think has really changed how people perceive these things. I think even people I would see at the grocery store, they understand today the nexus between economic security, energy security, and national security.
Champagne told Calgary business leaders the government is working closely with the province to finalize deals on energy and emissions.
How do we deal with the regulatory uncertainty? Because it's one thing to say that we're looking at ways to increase investment, but we really need to deal with the regulatory challenges. And so that's the other piece, and that's the risk management piece that I actually asked the minister about. But the energy sector, I think, is encouraged.
Champagne's message comes as talks between Ottawa and Alberta over oil and gas caps, pipelines, and tanker policy edge towards a possible deal. Last week, Danielle Smith was all smiles meeting Carney, and on her weekend radio show, she hinted a deal is imminent.
We've been going back and forth now daily on a memorandum of understanding, and I hope that we're able to iron out some of the differences that we have in time for Grey Cup or shortly after.
But Monday in Fredericton, the Prime Minister said it will likely be sooner than that.
They're built with Indigenous partners, they're consistent with their climate goals, and they have a real economic return. And so you would expect to see some of those in the announcement later this week.
A spokesperson for Enbridge says the federal changes have the company optimistic but cautious, saying in a statement to CTV, what we can't lose sight of, however, is that in order for large energy projects to move forward, the federal government must make various policy changes. This includes simplifying regulations, shortening timelines for project approvals, committing to actions that help unlock production growth, and enhancing Indigenous engagement. Champagne hopes to walk out of Calgary with the endorsement of the city's business community because before any of the Liberals' major project plans can become reality, they must first get that budget passed, despite having a minority in Parliament. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
And the Prime Minister will be announcing the next set of federally funded infrastructure projects on Thursday. It was lights out and away we go for a group of students from Strathcona Tweedsmuir School. In Singapore, the students competed in STEM racing, the new name for F1 in schools. They built a scaled-down race car to compete against teams from 34 countries. It's the first time students from Strathcona Tweedsmuir have competed in STEM racing. The top three finishers were from Australia, Germany, and the UK, but the team says just making it to the event is a win.
I think the teams who have been there for a while were a little bit surprised. They were like, wow, you guys, this is your first year ever starting it. Like, you haven't been in developmental class or anything like that, and it's your first time at World, and we're like, yep, so here we are, a little bit underdogs, but yeah, it was cool.
The students plan to share their experience with the next group entering into the program. Oscar-winning actress Jennifer Lawrence is sharing some of her memories of shooting a film in Calgary last year, and the experience was pretty special for her son, too.
I had a toddler there, so I did a lot of exploring. I went to the zoo. I went to the science museum that has that like great outdoor, that crazy slide. And the Saddle Dome was a big part of conversations. But when I wrapped, I always sometimes when I wrap a movie, I get like a little bit of PTSD, just like about the, it's hard to describe, but like I won't want to look at like pictures from that time for like a few months. But somebody had given my son a book called Good Night Calgary. And every single night he would want me to read and it was like, good night, Saddle Dome, good night. And it was just like the whole thing over and over again.
Lawrence shot Die My Love in and around Calgary last year. The film was released last weekend. Thanks for joining us. We'll have more on the top stories coming up on CTV News at 5 and 6 or anytime online at ctvnews.ca/Calgary.